Bellwether College Consortium. It's a pleasure to have you all here today. Looks like we've got a really full house, so I'm super happy that we were able to accommodate everyone. And for those of you that have friends or colleagues that weren't able to join us today, we will be recording this session. So just FYI, we will be doing that for those individuals that have that opportunity, who didn't have that opportunity today. Give me just one sec so I can pull up my notes. I apologize. Here we go. All right. Okay, so I am really thrilled to see so many people on the line. Like I said, this is a 1-hour Bellwether webinar, again, that we will have recorded for those that aren't available to join us today. What I'd like to do is just start with the purpose of Bellwether. Those of you may have participated in the past know that we've been around for quite some time. We have had our organization exists for 26 years. So we started in 1995, and we have been having a Bellwether Award ceremony ever since. And so I'll talk a little bit about the founder of Bellwether Awards. I did want to let you know that we will continue on 2021. We will be in a virtual format, and we feel like that's probably best given where we are with the times and the ability that we have to safeguard any individual from having any unfortunate souvenir when they walk away from the assembly. So we are really fortunate to have the ability to go online, and we are working very hard to make sure that our presentations are from our guests and from our Bellwether finalists are just like what you would see if you were actually in an in-person conference. So we are working with a virtual platform that we feel like will give us that. So today we'll provide, again, some background on the consortium to guide you through your online submission process. We're going to share some benefits of being named a Bellwether finalist, and if selected, one of those prestigious Bellwether Award winners as well. We will have opportunities for you to provide webinars through our platform, and then also for those that are finalists and other individuals, whether they're participating in our consortium or not, have the ability to come in and learn from our winners as well. So we've been doing that this year, and we will continue that. We've had some very good positive feedback from those webinars. So you can learn, if you're not at the virtual conference, from the best of the best that are doing some really innovative work. We will end today with a Q&A period. For those of you who may have questions or may be new to what the Bellwether represents, I'm very happy to answer any questions. So just use the chat function to provide any question that you have. Make sure that you're hearing me clearly. I'll do my best to articulate and ensure that the session is providing you with what you need. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone on the call for their individual contributions to educating our students under these difficult circumstances. I know your time is valuable. Thank you again for joining us. We could have pulled back on this conference, but instead we moved in a direction that will allow us to continue what we feel is, during this very important time, the most innovative and solutions-oriented colleges in this virtual format. We unapologetically continue to advance and share and celebrate innovations in our programs and practice and workforce development, and hope you will join us in this 2021 assembly. So this is how it will work this year. It's a little bit different from years past if you've participated. Bellwether usually starts its policy summit on a Saturday, ending on a Sunday. We have a little bit of time for you to spend in San Antonio, which is our home office. And then we begin starting on the Community Colleges Futures Assembly, which is where those 30 presentations will take place. Our 30 finalists will come and compete on a full Monday with roughly 5 or 6 sessions happening hour after hour. Of course, we will have more time for some breaks in between in this virtual setting, but it is a day-long packed presentation or presentations of all our finalists, our judges looking on, obviously our participants looking on, listening and learning from fellow competitors. And then on Tuesday, we have the awards ceremony. So this year, we will have the actual policy summit happen on the 22nd, which is a Friday in January. And then of course, there'll be the weekend on the 23rd, 24th. And then we'll come back strong on that Monday, Tuesday, as is typical for our policy, for our Futures Assembly to be on a Monday, Tuesday. A full day Monday, the January 25th, for presentations, and on 26th, we'll have our Bellwether Award ceremony. We usually finish up at about 11 or noon. So we'll keep that same time period. So if you can hold those dates, I would be appreciative of that. So we typically hosted, or we would have hosted this 27th annual ceremony in San Antonio. But again, just kind of given where we are with things, we're going through a well-known virtual conferencing company. Working together, we know we can produce another very strong schedule for you to participate in. Now, typically, our policy summit is a day-long event. We won't go through the night as we typically do. Last year, we actually had a film screening. And this year, depending on if we have a film that we feel is applicable to the policy summit focus that we'll have, we may have one as well. So just FYI, those are things that we include that I think are very different from other conferences, but I think very worthwhile. We will typically end on a policy discussion or policy discussions that we feel are very much in tune with what's happening right now. And right now, of course, we have a lot of policy discussions surrounding our financing of higher education, remote learning, outcomes through remote learning. So there's plenty for us to dig into. And so we will be providing more information, our focus for our policy summit, a little bit later. Last year, we did have, like I said, a highly acclaimed documentary screening, and we also had a focus group facilitated by our affiliated sponsor, the Association of Community College Trustees. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the folks that come and join us and wonderful things that we are able to accomplish in a day, and the fact that we have those types of individuals coming to present. On Monday, like I said, the January 25th, we will commence with the Community College Futures Assembly, aka Bellwether Award Competition. All the colleges selected as one of the 30 Bellwether finalists will present either a recorded or a live presentation on that day to a virtual audience, which would also include our Bellwether judges. Now, whether or not you record your presentation or have a live presentation, you all will also need to be there for their Q&A, because that is really an opportunity for the audience to really learn what it is you are doing that is so innovative, or ask questions that they weren't able to ask during your presentation. So know that even if you pre-record, you will still be there, technically there virtually, to provide answers to the questions that your audience will have. And on Tuesday, as I said, January 26th, we celebrate. We have a very special guest to kick off the Bellwether Award ceremony and our culminating celebration, which will conclude with announcing the finalists, of course, again, and the winners to the Futures Assembly. Everyone has actually an award that they receive, whether they are a finalist, and if they're a winner, 2 awards, an award for being a finalist, an award for being a winner, or a recipient of the Bellwether Award at the very end. So you don't walk away with anything if you don't necessarily become the recipient. And in fact, we may even actually be exploring digital badges for our finalists this year. So more to come on that. Next slide. Who we are. We are a nationally recognized member-supported consortium. We receive money through your membership. We were established 26 years ago, and it is through the entire time that we've been funded primarily through our membership dues, and also, of course, our host college, which I'd be remiss not to say, which is Alamo College's district. And so that is where I'm housed, and that is where my team is housed. And so they support us throughout the year to make sure that we are able to provide valuable opportunities for professional development, and then the awards ceremony, and of course our signature events. This is a nationally recognized member-supported consortium. We're charged with addressing critical issues that are facing community colleges every year through applicable research and promotion and replication of best practices, addressing our 3 categories for the award, which, if you've read our submission categories, you know are workforce development, instructional programs and services, and planning, governance, and finance. So those are our areas for our annual award categories. Next slide, the Bellwether College Consortium team. So who we are. I've introduced myself as director. I lead the consortium in all aspects of development, program management, and fiscal oversight. On the line as well as Dina Rodriguez-Cassidy, who serves as an executive assistant to the Vice Chancellor of Education and Workforce. And she also assists us with securing judges for our award competition and coordination of the summit and assembly. We're also joined today by Robert Acosta, who is steering us today through our slides. And he leads the BCC Communications and Social Media campaign, which includes, by the way, if you participated in any of our inaugural BCC Innovations webinar series webinars, we had our 3 featured Bellwether Award winners this year. And we also were very lucky to have a CARES Act webinar with over 100 people on the line, where we featured the Assistant Secretary of Education, Scott Stump, and Deputy Assistant Secretary Casey Sachs, who were able to speak on the CARES Act for our community colleges. Ida Leos, who was not listed here, is also part of our team, and so I'm remiss in adding her, but she is our administrative assistant. You will primarily deal with the 3 people you have in front of you, and then she will address any questions in terms of registration. So we will also include her when we begin talking with our finalists, and she'll be working more closely with them. The next slide is speaking a little bit about our founder. This is Dale Campbell on the left, with the white hair, distinguished gentleman. He is the founder of the Community College Futures Assembly and the Bellwether College Consortium. Some of you may have remembered him from past Bellwether College experiences. He was not able to join us last year. He will be able to join us this year. So I'm proud to say he will be co-emceeing the Bellwether Awards ceremony, and he's very excited about it. I just spoke with him yesterday, and he has some really good ideas on speakers, and obviously a very insightful professor emeritus of higher ed from the University of Florida. So we're really lucky to still have him available to participate and also to provide guidance. Next slide. The Bellwether membership and benefits. Just wanting to let you know, like I said, we invite our membership based on those 30 finalists. But once you're a finalist or an award winner, you're always a part of the Bellwether family. For those of you who haven't participated in Bellwether events, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. Many of our webinars, our series is open to most anyone, and so we provide that value add to all community colleges. We want to help. We want to be a part of any professional development we can in that space. But for those folks that are members, we do provide discounted rates for people that are registering for, of course, our college assembly and for the policy summit. This year, because we're going virtual, we can afford to do more. Typically, we provide 3 complimentary registrations to our members with their annual membership. This year, we will provide 10. And I'm working through our budget to see what that looks like, but we will provide 10 registrations per membership. So look out for that and know that you can invite quite a bit of people. And I think you'll find it very, very informative or very, very valuable to your college colleagues that may want to participate, but for obvious reasons weren't able to fly or come to participate given the do that. We also feature our webinars, as I've shared before. We have a quarterly newsletter called the Bellwether Brief. We utilize that for surveys. We utilize that to push out information that Bellwether is privy to have and provide to its members. Our membership opportunities provide annual surveys on how our Bellwether members are doing, which in large part is why and how we were able to have the U.S. Department of Ed come in and provide us with a specific overview of CARES Act and address specific questions. Focus groups through ACCT were established last year, which was great. They're doing some good work on rural colleges. And so they linked up with us to have access to our small colleges that were participating in our assembly. I can provide assistance with AACCT and AACC presentation submissions for our Bellwether winners. That's just as a courtesy. Typically, the winners do go on to present what they were awarded in at AACCT and AACC. And again, ACCT is Association of Community College Trustees, your governing board members, and AACC is American Association of Community Colleges. We want to continue with a special film series screening at our policy summit. So my fingers are crossed that we will be able to do that this year. If not, we always will have a policy discussion. And so those are some of the annual event benefits that you receive by being a member. What we do. Bellwether supports, publicizes, it promotes our national annual award competition. So, which by the way, when you become a Bellwether finalist, utilize that logo, our logo as a finalist, utilize our logo as a winner. I know Alamo College's district, my home campus, has done that. It really provides more visibility to the caliber of college that you represent. And so utilize that to your benefit. But we help recognize cutting edge, trend-setting programs worthy of replication in those three categories that I've mentioned. We look for evidence. It is really important that when you do apply, that you do speak to the outcomes. It is crucially important. In fact, important to the point where I've had judges say, I thought their program was great. They just only had a year of evidence. And so I always tell folks that maybe didn't learn the first time to come back again, because chances are it might have been that one area where they didn't feel like they could score you as high. And so that's just my insight, sharing that information with you there, because I think it was very helpful. Again, we identified 30 colleges out of 100 or more applications that we receive yearly. Those applications can come from any college, any community college in the United States, and also our U.S. territories. Last year, we had 23 states compete, or colleges compete from 23 states, and a U.S. territory, the Marshall Islands as well. So competition is strong, but again, if you're in that group, it just shows the caliber of college that you represent. To date, BCC has had at least 78 unduplicated Bellwether Award recipients and roughly 1,300 finalists. Some of these are repeat offenders, so they've come back with a different program and they've done well. And so I can tell you, I know colleges that compete and do well, and it speaks highly of them. So hopefully you all are enthused and excited about participating with that level of colleges that we have. And then finally, we delivered professional development and opportunities for growth through our webinars that we have available for most everyone that is a member. Next, these are a list of our finalists for the 2020 competition. And so the great thing that we also do is send out press releases of all our finalists. This is actually from last year. We provide information via our social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we provide that information to each of the colleges so that they can push it out to their individual newspapers. And so that's available for you to utilize. Winners last year, I think someone might our award winners were Pima Community College in the area of instructional programs and services. For planning, governance, and finance, Howard Community College, and for workforce development, our award recipient was Central Arizona College. And again, those webinars that we have are available with their recorded presentations. They're available on our website. The next slide talks about probably why you're most interested in listening today, and this is the award submission process. So this is a 2-round process, but it's not difficult in terms of the time needed for round 1, so that's the great news. Round 1, I'll go through the submission form, but just note that the round 1 is judged by a team of BCC partners. Usually these are national councils, maybe in workforce development or instructional programming, but they're folks that are very seasoned in the work that they do, and they know what's coming around the corner, and they're very, very much experienced in judging these submissions. After about 5 weeks, they're to provide us back with the ranking of the contestants or of the submissions, and we always have 2 alternates. And I will tell you that in some years, including last year, there were opportunities for the alternate to compete, and so that happens every once in a while. So know that even if you don't get named in the top 10, there is a very strong possibility that some colleges might not be able to participate. We will, our deadline, should I say, for submitting, I want to say this over and over again, is August 20th. So please make sure you get your submission in by that deadline. And then again, the 5-week review process happens with our judges in September through early October. We have a few months just to make sure that our 30 finalists will be able to attend the actual dates. So that's why we have a little bit of a holding period, and we hope to announce all the finalists by October 30th, if not earlier. But October 30th is our drop dead date. So that'll be in the form of a press release. We will have letters going out to your presidents, your chancellors, so they are very well made aware of the fact that they have made that really high cut. Round 2 occurs Monday, January 25th. Again, that's the day that is the first day of our Community College Futures Assembly. And again, that is an all-day judging process. You will have a random time slot chosen, but the great thing about virtual is we probably won't have the challenges we had last year in terms of people always wanting to present in the early hours of the morning or the first 2 hours of the morning. So we will be able to provide some leeway in terms of when you record and when we can slot you in. The judges will be obviously there all day, and through the evening, by the way, they will be making their discussions or deliberations throughout the evening to decide on those top winners. Those teams typically consist of 3 to 5 judges, always an odd number, obviously, and we have an experienced honorary coordinator of judges who oversees the process. And so it is a really good group of people. They take it very seriously. There's definitely been at least one category that I experienced last year where they really were at odds in terms of who should win. So just let you know, this is not something they come into lightly. They judge very, very well in terms of looking at every aspect of your program. So know that you're in good company if you make those 30 top slots, and definitely if you become a recipient of the award. Next slide. The Bellwether scoring criteria. The critical issue is definitely something we want to see. What is the issue that this program, policy, or maybe governing model pertains to? Why is it a critical issue? The ability to address the issue is super important. What is the rationale in addressing this issue? Why did you feel this issue was of major importance? We'll look at the strength of your program. What do you provide? What is it that is different and innovative? And what in the policy or the service or the program? How is that rationale specific to your college campus in terms of how it's addressing the specific issue. If we can scoot down to documented outcomes, this is really where we provide a little more emphasis in terms of points. We want to see some strong indicators of effectiveness and of evidence, scaling and success. So is this a scalable program or policy? Meaning, is it institution-wide or could it become institutionalized? That's something we want to hear from you about. The ability to replicate it as well on other campuses, or is this something that was specific to a specific community college? And so those are the things we find important because it's wonderful, obviously, to have a program that's very successful at your resident college, but we want to see how that could maybe help other colleges with similar challenges. And do you have evidence of that scalability, of the replicability? And finally, lessons learned or shared lessons. This is always really important for our audience members because this talks about, or this gives them the insight of what was challenging, what did they learn through this process, and what could they have done maybe to improve upon it. And of course, you don't know till you get to that end point. And so those are the things that are the criteria that we find have been very helpful year after year in ensuring that our finalists, our recipients are able to channel that energy and channel what they've learned to other colleges who can kind of beg, borrow, and steal, right, from those individuals that made it that far. Okay, next slide. All right, so this might be small, I'm hoping not. This is the actual application form. If you have not had the opportunity to go into it, then we're providing you with the information here. First and foremost, when you're going to go into the application form, please know that you do need to have your title ready for your presentation. You do need to know who is going to be your lead person, and know that that lead person should be there from today all the way through January. We don't, what we've seen sometimes happen is a president retires and he was the person named, and then we can't get a hold of that person, or someone along the way maybe provided an incorrect email. So just make sure that this information is correct, and that that lead person is someone we can contact, whether by email or telephone. And remember that right now, many of us are not at our offices, and so that phone might not be going on to your particular cell phone, or may not be answered. And so definitely put your cell phone, if you feel like that's the number you're going to be at for the next couple of months, just to make sure that we can contact you, and you can be in contact with us. The very important part beyond that, obviously, is the name of your presenters. Some of these things can change, by the way. We do know that you may want a board member there, but down yet because you don't know which one you're going to choose. So those are definitely areas that we can change to a certain extent. Of course, when the programs due, and we need to move forward with the people that you will be listing here. Make sure that you complete the program description, and let's see if we can move on. I'll skip that 1-minute video link because that's optional, but make sure that program description has a maximum of 50 words or fewer. And again, the program summary is the area where you're going to be all included in that program summary. So your rationale, the strength of your program, the outcomes, the scalability, the replicability, what you've learned, all those things need to be included in program summary. That'll be the piece for the judges to look at and score you on. The 1-minute link, that is optional. We do find many people who have programs that are probably worthy of getting to 30 finalist level do have some video. They have some link that talks about the program. It's not going to be judged for this first round, but for the second round, we do have our judges look at that. So no worries if you don't have anything this first round, but note that you will probably need to develop something very short, minute or two, that talks about your program that you put forward for the submission. Everything else I think is self-explanatory. We don't provide any honorarium, nor do we incur any costs, but we do provide obviously the access to the gallery, and we will provide some assistance should you need to record your presentation or do it live. We will have people available to help through that process. Okay, we will continue on. So I'm kind of getting to the final stages here because I do want to make time for some Q&A. The award ceremony, again, Tuesday, January 26th, in the morning from about 8 to 10-ish, maybe a little bit longer. We will announce all the finalists. So we definitely want your participating team to be there, so to speak, so we can acknowledge you through the virtual conference setting. Dale Campbell will be our co-MC with myself, so I'm sure he will also want to provide some congratulations as well. And so we will have typically one of our judges come up and help me make the announcement for each one of the categories. And it is a really fun celebratory process. So I think given this year and all we've been through, I think we deserve that. So hopefully all of your members can participate that are part of the team, and definitely include your board. It's always nice to have them available there too. Next slide. Okay, so that's it. So there is, if you want to copy the, or Robert, if you can copy that award form and put it on the chat, I think that would be really helpful to people. If there are any questions, I can take them at this time. Let's see. I hope, Cynthia, that your partner was able to connect, because I do see that you had someone waiting. I don't think we had any registration passwords. Does anyone have a question? If so, they can type it in here, or you can unmute yourself. Yes, this PowerPoint will be made available to you. We can send it out, and we will most likely put it on our website. So, Vicki, thank you for that question.
Hi, this is Cynthia. You had mentioned that the outcomes were very important, and to have perhaps more than just 1 year of data tracking, as well as sustainability and the ability to replicate. Is there any other major components that you look at when in the 500 words? 500 words is not a lot to describe a program, so I'm wondering if there's anything that you really want us to focus on or capture other than those 3 things that I just mentioned.
I think those are the major areas for judging, you know, in terms of how you do it. You know, you're right, 500 isn't a lot. If you want to maybe bullet some certain qualitative and quantitative outcomes, I think that's always helpful to have measurable results there that the judges can view and see and discuss. I think those will always be helpful. I definitely noticed that they have an eye on what were the outcomes. If you have only qualitative, that's great. If you have qualitative and quantitative, that is even better. So now knowing that everything can be quantified, and they are very also receptive of people explaining that. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, so but we don't have the ability to put in graphs or charts. It's only words. Yes,
right. So I mean, if you can spell it out, I guess, you know, would that be helpful? So, you know, 60% versus the percentage sign, those things just I think just be as as articulate as you can about that. But yeah, I mean, they're not looking for graphs and charts at this point. I think they understand that, and they need to go through this very methodically and quickly because there's so many at certain points in times. But I think just explaining in the most, I think, clear way possible that the outcomes um, have been you know, above and beyond what you expected, I think would be helpful. And that's certainly something that they're looking for.
Thank you.
Sure. That was a great question. Anything in the chat? Okay. Thank you for putting that up there, Robert. So if you want to just copy the form, it is there available on our chat box. And I'll just wait a little bit longer. The registration for both the Policy Summit and the Futures Assembly will be coming online most likely in October. That is, you know, right when we have our announcement of our finalists, and that's typically when we start announcing who's going to be our keynote speakers, and also obviously starting the registration process. We've hidden the link for our hotel because there's no need for one, so you don't need to worry about traveling anywhere. You can do it in the comfort of your own home or office. So that's, I think, in some respects, a good thing. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, please make sure that you get your form in on time. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to me, Dina, or Robert. We're here to help you. And just want to say again, thank you so much for the work that you do. Community colleges, I think, are on the cutting edge of the work that we're seeing in workforce development and really getting people back to work that right now may not have access to a good paying job. And so thank you for the work you do. If there's any way Bellwether can help you with anything in terms of visibility of maybe your award, or you being a finalist, or you even getting to going through this application process and you needing some more support or some questions answered, please look to us, and we are here for you. So thank you so much, and you all have a great afternoon. Take care.